All right, so we've gotten a lot of feedback from folks who have been managing workflows with forms, where they use something like a Google form to submit an expense, to submit an evaluation, and they want to add things on top of that. They want a system of record, a place where they've logged all of those entries, and they want to add stuff like notifications on top of that, say an email to the person who filled out the form. And it can get a little bit unwieldy when trying to sync things across 2, 3, sometimes 4 different systems. So I want to quickly show you an example of how you can do all of that in Flowdash in a single workflow. We're going to create a form. We're going to add some assignment to the team on top of that. We'll see it here as our system of record, and we'll add some notifications on top of all of it. So here we are in a simple expense report workflow. So let's just quickly jump into one of these expenses. And we see that Hermione Granger is using her health benefit. And here it is. It's assigned to me. So I need to take a look at it and I can approve or reject it. It's a very simple workflow. So let's build a form. I'm going to go into Data, Forms, create a new form. Call it Expense Report. And we'll give it a header. Make it pretty generic. Company Expense Report. I'll remove this description block for now, but we can get crazy with our customization. And I'm just going to add all the necessary fields here. So I can make the label on the form a little bit different than the field name. So I'll just call it your first name, make it required, just so it's a little bit easier to understand for the person filling out the form. Your last name, work email. Let's call it your work email. Let's actually say that we'll send a copy of your response to this email address for your records. Sort of gives peace of mind to the person filling out the form that they've done so successfully and just for their personal records. Date of expense, let's make that required. This should reflect the date on receipt invoice you attach below, because that's another one of our fields. Okay, amount, let's make it required. Expense category, also required. Say mark other if we cannot identify a category. Right. Say please include any relevant information. Okay, so let's just make it not required, and then invoice receipt, and let's just say please limit this to one attachment. It's actually already enforced in Flowdash by setting some metadata on this invoice receipt field where you can specify the number of attachments that a field can accept. And let's require that as well. So I'm going to save it, but quickly let's do a preview. Company expense report, first name, last name, work email. Okay, it all looks good. So now we have a form. Let's add some automation on top of it. So we said we wanted to add an auto assignment automation, and we also wanted to add an email automation to the person who filled out the form. So let's just say email person who filled form. So let's say when an expense is created, trigger a new step. Let's call it email notification, and this will be to email your expense was submitted and will be reviewed shortly. All right, so we can just interpolate fields and write a quick email to this person with their form request. Thanks for submitting report summary. Let's just include some of the fields. 8. Also include amount. Include the category. As well as the description. And just include those basic fields for now. Okay. So what this means is every time somebody fills out this form, we will send an automation email to them containing a summary of what they filled out. So let's quickly add an auto assign. Assign for health benefit department. So this one, I just want to add a little bit of logic that says only assign to Tanner, and we could also split it across multiple members of the team, but let's just say I am the person in charge of the health benefit. So let's add a quick filter that says if expense category is health benefit, then assign to Tanner. And we can add other automations that do similar filtering and kick it off to other members of the team. Okay. All right, now let's fill out one of these expenses. So let's pretend that I am Neville Longbottom. And let's call it Neville at Hogwarts.com. Sorry if I'm spelling his name wrong. Let's say it was about a week ago. And Neville got a wand for $75. And that falls under office equipment at Hogwarts. And it is quite sturdy, justifying the relatively high price. And let's add a receipt. Perfect. And we've submitted. All right, and let's pretend that I'm Neville and I own the Neville at Hogwarts.com email address. This is the email that I would receive right after filling out the form. Next, let's take a look at how it looks in our new system of record in Flowdash. All right, so here we are back in our Flowdash system of record for expense reporting straight from the form right into Flowdash. After Neville filled out the form, we now see his expense at the bottom. And since it was an office equipment category, it didn't get assigned to me because that's not my team. But since I'm here, I'll go ahead and take a look at it anyway and just assign myself because I'm the first one there. And I'm taking a look. I can go ahead and start looking. And I see that, maybe it's a little bit expensive. So too expensive for the sturdiness. We haven't done this yet, but we could add another automation that sends an email to Neville at Hogwarts.com when this is approved or rejected. In the case of rejected, with the rejection reason, maybe, and some future instructions. But there we go. That's it. Fully deprecate your Google Forms plus Google Sheets plus notification code madness, and bring it on to Flowdash.